Welcome back to another segment of Manifest with SI Power. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Let's get right into the content. So I'm going to hit several points, but I know I won't have enough time to get it all, but I'm going to do the best that I can. So these subjects are taboo, abundance, and money. So let's really talk about receivership, receiver mode, and reception. It's a nervous system deal, right? So it comes down to, have you built the capacity to hold the frequency of money, right? Which leads us into identity. Are you the one who has it, or are you the one that constantly runs out? The one that hasn't changed their speech, saying, I'm always broke, I'm poor, I always run out of money, I never have any money, right? So I want to hit on all of this, right? Because even if this is the story that ego is telling, you don't need to claim it no more. You don't need to repeat that story no more, because you want something different, or at least you say you want something different. And also it comes down to what you're emoting, right? Your emotions. What signal are you sending to the universe? All of this is important. Where this stems from is between 2 to 4 events that you saw between the ages of 0 to 7, plus the inherited beliefs that was passed down to you from your mother and father and your maternal and paternal grandparents. This is why I say you have to get out pen and paper or pen and pad and find out what you believe about money, and ask yourself the question, did this come from you? And then more importantly, are these beliefs still true for you, right? Because you've heard all kinds of sayings. So your programming and your conditioning is unfavorable when it comes to money. And then you don't even know that you have a relationship with money. So if you was in a relationship, what would you want? Because money is similar to you. It will want respect. It will want appreciation. It will want love. So with it being just like you, if you're not delivering these things and you're steady blaming it, you're steady approaching it with anxious energy, desperation, and neediness, that deals with repulsion instead of attraction. So all of these many variables come into play. Let's go over some of the sayings that you've heard. You've heard that money is scarce. There's not enough to go around for everybody to have some. So if you take more than your share, somebody's going to be left out. You've heard money doesn't grow on trees, right? That contributes to scarcity. You've heard that money is the root of evil. You've heard that it's hard to come by. In those 2 to 4 intense memories that you can recall, probably between the ages of 4 to 7, 4 to 8, you saw people argue over money. You saw people fight about money. You saw people break up about money. You've heard about divorces because of money. So all of this is feeding into you, which from 0 to 7, you were a sponge. You was in theta state. You was in the subconscious, just taking everything in. You had no ability to question anything. So this is the problem right today. Okay? So if you're thinking that money is bad, you're the identity that never has it. In your central nervous system, you haven't built the capacity to allow more in or hold the frequency of money. Can you begin to see where the complications are coming from? I mean, like from a core or root analysis point of view. So until you begin to deal with these frameworks, right, begin to shift identity, challenge inherited beliefs, and recalibrate your nervous system, you're not going to be able to effectively attract and hold money, because there's discombobulation, there's chaos, there's confusion. So I want to give you another example, right? Sort of like a car, right? Let's say like you are the car, or the car is the conscious mind. I mean, the steering wheel is the conscious mind. So I'm going to equate you with the steering wheel, right? And I'm going to equate the car as the subconscious, or maybe a better example is the ship and the rudder, right? So the physical boat doesn't have anything, right? It's just going to follow the direction of the rudder, or the sailor and the rudder, right? So the car has to follow the steering wheel. You know, basically whatever the driver does, the car has to follow. So the car and the ship are similar. So the conscious mind is sort of like you and the steering wheel, or you and the rudder in the ship. And the subconscious mind is either the car or the boat or ship. So with that being said, it's just accepting whatever data, whatever action is forced upon it. So it is with your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Whatever your conscious mind gives your subconscious mind, it just accepts it as fact and begins to move on it to prove you right. So if you're constantly saying, I never have any money, I'm poor, I'm broke, and then your emotions, you're feeling broke, or you're feeling lack, or you're feeling scarcity, the subconscious is confused. It's only going to give you more of that. Although consciously, intellectually, rationally, logically, you know, or you're saying, you're communicating that you want more. The language of the subconscious is emotion. So it's going off of how you feel. So it's automatically giving you more of what you already have. And you're wondering what's going on. You're confused. And you're like, damn, why does this keep happening? It's because of the pattern that's running. So until you go inwardly and address the discombobulation, the confusion, and the chaos, and bring peace or calmness, the outside can't change, right? Law of correspondence. As within, so without. So if you don't bring clarity on the inside, it's going to continue to be confusion or pain and suffering on the outside as it relates to the topic or subject of money. Now, this can very easily be dealt with, but you're going to have to do the inner work. You're going to have to write down how you think and how you feel and what you believe about money. And then you have to answer the question, are those things currently true for you? And are those things serving and benefiting you? If not, you're going to have to start the process to believe something different, right? I'm not saying fight with your thoughts or fight with the beliefs. You're just going to have to install a new belief, and it's going to take emotion and repetition. So until you do this, your life is not going to change very much. Like, yeah, you might take 2 steps forward, and then it'll be a small amount of time. You're going to get knocked 10 steps back. Why? Because you haven't dealt with the root or core issue. which is your identity, your beliefs, right? Thought patterns and emotions around money. This is very important. It can be done. It will take some effort on your part. It's simple, but it's not easy. And it will take persistence. And it will take consistency. This is a fact. But I say that it's well worth it if you've been struggling with money. Probably 90% of people struggle with money. So if you've been struggling with money, 2-5 years, it's worth it to put in this work, however long it takes, to shift your identity, to shift your reality. Okay? Now, everything in this life costs, right? It costs you to have a habitat. It costs you amenities to run the habitat. It costs you to have a car. It costs you for maintenance and gasoline to run the car insurance. So intellectually, you know that you're supposed to have money. But knowing something in your head rationally, logically, and intellectually is not enough. You have to go beyond that. And you have to put it on paper repetitiously so that you can see it, so that you can stop giving your power away and blaming the world and see what's really going on, and have a seat with your identity, have a seat with your mindset, your thoughts about money, have a seat with your emotions and feelings around money, and then the actions that you've been taking with money. And you just got to come clean, right, with no judgment, and ask yourself, has what I've been doing previously up until now been serving me and benefiting me with money? And the answer is going to be a resounding no, because you're very limited. And that's because of your identity and your limiting beliefs and negative emotions around money.